What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Truth Addiction. This is the channel that deals with the disease of addiction and all the ways it manifests itself. I am a recovering addict. My name is Brian. I suffer from a disease which is incurable, progressive, and sometimes fatal. It can, however, be arrested at some point, and recovery is then possible. I'm sitting here with my man Dave. What's going on, Dave?
What's up, Brian?
How you doing today, bro?
Good, man. Real good.
We're here at the beautiful Silver Lake Nature Center, Bristol, Pennsylvania, right outside of Philadelphia. It's a pretty nice day.
A little warm, but nice.
A little warm and nice, a little humid.
Yeah, humid.
A little humid, you know what I mean? So anyway, man, if you've been watching this channel, you know the deal. I'm about to run down Dave some questions and talk about his life, lead it into recovery and what he's doing today, man. And let's get it started. So, dude, you want to introduce yourself and tell us how long you've been clean, man?
Yeah, how you doing, everybody? I'm Dave. I'm an addict. I have a clean date of December 31st, 2021. That's 600 and maybe 18 days, I think. Yeah.
So what's that equate to in years or months? What is that?
1 year, 7 months.
1 year and 7. Try to make it simple for the people, Dave.
Yeah.
I can't add that good.
I'd have to look it up.
1 year, 7 months. That's fucking amazing,
Yeah.
man. I would clap, but my arm's fucked up, so I'll just do one of these.
Thank you, thank you.
Usually I get a clap to people. All right, so anyway, man, let's start this out. So tell us what your early childhood was like, you know, maybe from around the age of 5 to 10, 12 years old, something like that.
All right.
What's
yeah.
going on?
I don't have many memories before 5. The first memory I have was a traumatic one. I was mauled by an English bulldog.
Damn.
Like my face was ripped apart. I still have a scar. My ear was hanging, and I was the mascot of my brother's baseball team. And that traumatized me, like with dogs, like up until like my mid-20s. Like I had a problem with dogs, right?
Yeah.
So that was my first experience in life, right? That first memory.
How old were you then about?
5.
5, yeah. You know, for most people, I can't remember back under 5 years old. So that's why I usually say like anywhere from 5 up. So how's your home life?
How was my home life? It was good. I was the youngest of 3 boys. Mom and dad stayed together till the end, even though they might have been better off not staying together, but it was a traditional family. Dad worked, mom would stay at home until my older brothers went to college. Then she got a job. I became latchkey kid. But it was, you know, dinner at 5 every night, right? And it was normal. There was my parents aren't addicts. There was a liquor cabinet, but I never saw anybody touch it.
Right. So where did you grow up? Where were you? Where'd you live?
Neshaminy Valley in Ben Salem.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's like 15. I try to give people locations where we're at. That's like 15, 20 minutes from Philly.
Yeah.
So it's close. So drugs are nothing. There's nothing going on in your house drug-wise, your parents?
Both of my older brothers, one's an aerospace engineer, the other one's a mechanical engineer in the same field I'm in, but there was no drug. I'm the black sheep.
Okay.
Right? Like there was no drugs. I'm the only addict in my family around here that I know. Which
goes to show, doesn't matter if you come from a great background or a trashy background like I did. You know, I mean, listen, my mom did the best she could. She was an addict, bro. I mean, it was tore up in my house. But the point is, you can grow up with the best kind of education, the best people around you, and at the end of the day, this is a disease. And like you said, so your other 2 brothers?
Yeah.
They didn't get it. They weren't doing shit.
No. Like, I mean, drinking in the woods maybe, but they were like both swimmers, like varsity swim team, Ben Salem, like class 87 and 89. So they weren't like drinking in the woods. They were just, I guess, once in a while. I don't know. It just there was no
right.
I don't know.
So how's your teenagers look? So you get to 12, 13, 14. What's going on then, man?
I had a normal life growing up, baseball, right? School, struggled in school. But as a teenager, it's funny you say 14, right? That's when I found marijuana.
14, you started smoking?
Yeah. Peers, you know, older kids in the woods in the neighborhood. And, you know, after doing a little bit of work, I learned, like, I was always trying to seek attention, right? Because my brothers didn't give it to me. When I was born, they were 4, 5, and 6. They were established out of diapers, you know what I mean?
Right.
Our table was a square, and then it went round, right?
Okay.
Because we needed that high chair room.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I was kind of like, you know, David, don't play with my toys. Don't you know what I mean?
Don't.
Like, right. I was nicknamed
David, no.
David, don't. Right. And I always wanted to know why, but it was just don't.
So you graduate school, high school, and all that?
Yeah. I graduated from Bucks County Tech School with a diploma for small engine repair and a diploma from Ben Sam High School, class of '94.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even graduate. I had to go get a GED and shit.
Yeah.
So your first time using is weed.
Yeah.
And what's that like, real fast? If you can explain that.
I don't
how,
really
how that
remember.
come about.
I didn't have that much. I just remember the way it tasted and the way the seeds would pop out of the joint. You know what I mean? Like, this was back then. And
Do you remember like a feeling of like, yo, this was the shit? I just found it was just kind of an experimental thing, or?
Nah. I think that came with like acid. I was like 3 years of my high school.
Was the weed peer pressure?
No, it was just going on.
It was just happening.
It was just kids in the woods. We would drink beer and smoke weed. That was it.
I guess what I'm saying is, when you look back at it now,
Yeah.
were you a willing participant, or do you think like, I'm just gonna, like, in other words, did you know that probably smoking weed wasn't the best thing to do, but I'm gonna do it anyway because they're doing it, is what I'm saying?
No, because I wasn't educated.
Okay.
You know, I think the war on drugs came out with Nancy Reagan back then, but
Just say no.
yeah, if I had only just said no.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, hey, if addicts with disease of addiction just could say no, there wouldn't be what is it, pandemic or an academic, whatever the fuck that word is.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be over 100,000 people ODing and dying every year. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
All right, so after that you get to, let's bring it up to your teenage years into your 20s, your late teenage years, your 20, 21, 22. Where are you at now? Where are you living? What's going on in your life?
Well, I rolled out, right? Like, I needed a change of scenery. I was heavy into LSD and drinking, and my brother got a job at General Dynamics in Connecticut. He graduated college the same year I graduated high school, and I went up to Connecticut, to New England, and worked at UPS in the morning, and then I was a landscaper in the afternoon, and then, did UPS in the morning, went up there with that job, landed it before I even got up there. And
how'd you get to New England? Do you know somebody there?
Well, no, my brother got a job at Electric Boat, which is right on Thames River. It was part of like the General Dynamics. They build submarines and shit like that.
Okay.
So he, this aerospace engineer degree got him a job there, and
nice.
My family, including myself, thought I could use a change of scenery, so I went with him. And I did really well. I remember we left in October, and I came home like 25 pounds lighter, just because he was like, swimming in college. My brother still professionally swims in his 50s.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Nice.
And like, I learned a new way of life then. And being 18, it was hard to find alcohol. So it was like, I think I was smoking cigarettes. But that was it. Like,
so you come back to what, Bucks County?
Yeah. Well, I came back just a month later, a total different person. Went back, and it was a year and a half. My other brother called me and said, "Hey, you want to get in the sign business?" Because I was kind of helping him in the summers of 11th and 12th.
Right.
And I'm still putting up signs and working on signs now, 30 years
yeah,
later.
I see you, man. This boy be up. Bro, I seen you up in the air, bro.
Yeah.
What's the highest you ever been up in the air doing your job, man?
520 feet.
520 feet. Fuck that.
3 months
Fuck
straight.
that.
It was fun, man. It was good.
You ain't gonna catch me up there, bro. But so anyway, I want to get down to the nitty gritty here. So where's the progression of the drug? What happened? What drug do you finally put in your body that and it's on and popping after that?
Methamphetamine.
How old were you then?
Once when I was a teenager, but my 40s. Right?
Really?
Yeah.
Took you to your 40s. How old are you now?
47.
You look pretty good for your age.
Thanks.
So you were a late bloomer as far as
hard stuff.
Yeah.
But man, I took that to a whole level. You know, my nevers came true, and I fell in love with it.
How'd you come up on that drug? Do you remember that? Was it like a coworker?
It was an experimental moment, right? Like, you know, I was with my partner, you know, my girlfriend at the time.
She was using? She was using it?
We both used, yeah. And, you know, at first it was fun. And then,
oh, yeah, it's always fun in the beginning.
And then it wasn't.
And then it isn't, right?
Right, like...
It's all fun and games till it ain't fun and games anymore.
And it didn't take
I'm just
long,
saying, because it's a weird thing that, like, you go from all that to 40, and then you just, hey, you know what, I'm going to become a meth addict. It's a big jump.
Well, from what I understand, my ADHD, right? So it was no surprise that I abused stimulants, you know.
I personally know somebody who was doing meth for a while, and same thing, and they swore they were medicating themselves properly with the meth. It was helping them live life better. You know what I'm saying?
I couldn't live without it, man. Like, people were, you know, how much could you, you know, how much did you do? Like, it wasn't, I just kept doing it. I don't know, I didn't keep track.
So, so you've been clean now for a year and 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
Take us to progression from the time you're 40, you hit the meth, and up till a year and 7 months ago. What happens, what transpires through all out that, man?
From the time I started using until I got clean, I mean...
This time, yeah.
Yeah, life got real bad. I mean, COVID hit, right? And I basically was living off of stimulus money. I wasn't working, probably a good thing, because I could have hurt myself or worked somebody else, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then it got bad and out of control, like bad.
Lose jobs? You lose relationships over? Like
no, we stayed together, even though it was over, right? Like, because of the destruction it did to the relationship. Like, for what I did, my drug became my side piece, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Like,
yeah.
I was doing it behind her back.
Side piece, the girlfriend might became the side piece in that situation.
Yo, really.
Because we devote everything to it. I mean, I've had people tell me, yo, you know, their girlfriend gave them ultimatums. It's me or that crack. And they'd be like, you got to go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's some rough shit, man, when you're caught up in that active addiction, bro. Because you don't care who you're hurting around you. You don't care you're hurting yourself. So why the fuck do you care if you're hurting somebody else? And it doesn't matter. Your mom, your grandmom, your dad. None of that matters. Although we probably do have that thing in us somewhere. We know we're fucking up. But that do it anyway thing just overrides it. You know what I mean? So where are you at your worst? Where are you at your worst before you get clean?
My worst, my powerless, my acknowledgement of my powerlessness was jamming it in my arm and crying.
You were shooting the meth up?
Shooting meth.
Okay.
Begging for something to happen.
Did you ever beg for death?
I don't know.
Well, I have.
Know.
I remember the last year of my run, bro. I wished for death every fucking day, bro, because I didn't want to do it anymore. Because I knew, well, I didn't, you know, I thought I knew I couldn't stop. Like, no matter what I did, I was convinced I can't stop. And, you know, I just wanted to find freedom by way of death. You know, that's how I was looking at it. So you're not wishing to die. You're wishing to you just want to put the shit down and get your life back.
I look back at it and then it all came to a halt, thank God, like at the same time, right? Like, I was on parole and I could stop, pass my drug test, see my PO, and then I couldn't stop, right? And that came after I I was on Monitor Connect, so I only had to call in.
Right.
And then that stopped because I left a syringe in a book bag New Year's Eve.
The old syringe in a book bag.
Yeah, and
that'll get you every time.
Grandma went through it and found it.
So that leads you to what, rehab? You going to rehab?
Well, yeah, she made the calls, and I was doing the whole dance, like stop. I was trying to do it on my own, and the PO took me off non-reporting, and I would pass, and then I couldn't, and it came to a day where he was coming out, and I'm in the bathroom jamming on him arm, and he's coming out. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, I told my girlfriend at the time, just take me to rehab, right? Because I knew what was going to happen.
All right, so you go in the rehab, right? What's that like, real fast? What's the rehab? What's going through your head? And that? How long did you stay in there?
My last time,
the time before
54 days.
Okay, that's a pretty good. I was in for a little bit too.
Pyramid Quaker Town, and
what's going through your head in that time, man?
I was like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, it was all new to me. I had no idea. Like, I knew rehabs existed, but I had no idea what it was about. And it was like, it set up the foundation, right, to what I definitely needed in my life. Right. Like, I couldn't do it on my own. I tried. And even though I tried telling the help how to help me, I learned quick that shit wasn't gonna happen.
Tried telling the help how to help me.
Yeah. And
instead of letting the help you. Yeah, I get it.
I was actually, Bucks County pulled me out on a warrant.
Out of rehab?
Out of rehab.
I didn't even know they could do that.
So Pyramid Quaker Town is still in Bucks County, and I was out smoking a cigarette after breakfast, and sheriffs rolled through, and I'm like, damn, someone's getting hit. And then administration comes out and was like, Dave, you're not going to run, are you? And I'm like, why? Are they here for me? And they're like, yeah. So long story short, they pulled me out because my PO knew I was going to rehab.
Yeah.
And I owed $17,000 in support from when I was paying and using, and the courts worked with me, sent me back that day on some stipulations, filed recommendations, circled back to about this support, which today I'm 0, I'm current, and it feels good, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
And filed the recommendations, and the PO, I walked off parole a month and a half after getting to a recovery house, which was the next step for me, right? And he never violated me, and I sometimes think to like reach out and just let him know like I'm okay, right? Because he put his, I feel like he trusted me that day, right?
Yeah,
like put him back in, and we'll see what happens.
So all right, so you get out, you hit a 12-step recovery program.
Yep.
We don't have to get into which one.
Right.
What's the beginning of that like? Walk in to your first meeting, and what's going on with that?
I'll never forget it. It was I can mention meetings, right?
Oh yeah.
So I got to my recovery house, and they had recommended, they suggested, make a meeting on your first night, 90-90, or just do one every day. And it was a Wednesday night. It was July 28th, and I went to Spiritual Way of Life, which became my home group for a minute.
Okay.
And I met some solid people who I remember spoke that night, and this is going back more than my 19 months, because I had a relapse in there. Right. And a lot of the people in that room, my sponsor today is actually connected with that home group. So it's nice. It was
you got a seed planted when you first went, because then you'd have a little relapse.
Yeah.
How long did relapse last?
It was like 2 weeks. I was smoking pot in the recovery house.
Yeah.
Right? But I went and
many
told on myself.
So I had sponsees call me up and they go, hey man, I haven't heard from them in a month, and they're like, hey man, I just want you to know I'm doing all right. I'm just smoking weed.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, and and it's like, it's just weed. And then my thing to that was always, dude, if it's just weed and it's so minor, you couldn't even not smoke weed.
Right.
So how diseased is your brain? Well, I mean, especially when we're talking about throwing away everything again.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Oh, I almost did.
Yeah, right. But so, all right, so you relapse for 2 weeks, come back in.
Mm-hmm.
You get a sponsor?
I did.
Home group?
I do.
Doing some steps?
I could be doing better.
But you have got in the steps?
Yeah, I'm feed her in on the 4th step.
Okay, well, I mean, shit. Some people don't even get past the 1st step, bro. They just go out and, matter of fact, not some. Most of us, we don't even surrender enough or accept the fact we have a disease enough to even stay long enough to do a 1st step, bro.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'll reiterate. That's why over 100,000 of us are fucking dying every year. But, so you get a network of people around you,
Yeah.
and you use all those things, right?
I do.
So, it's been a year and 7 months.
Yep.
How's your life today, man? How's everything, man?
It's really good, right? Like, I hear people say it's like my life beyond my wildest dreams, right? And I just know, like, for right now, like, life is good, right? Like, I'm very spiritual. For those, you know, like, I was always, you know, I have a religious background, but it's not about religion anymore. It's about spirituality and doing the next right thing, right?
Right.
And for me, like, I can't tell you how many times I say, wow, God doing for me what I can't do for myself. Still, to this day, I'll say that several times a day. Like, my gratitude piece is huge.
Yeah, it's
Right.
always, you know how they say, grateful addict will never use.
That's right.
And I can see why they say that, you know?
Yeah, because I remember, and I'm not gonna, like, I don't want to take that risk of, like, oh, well, I can use again, right?
I can do one, I can control it, yeah.
Right, like, I hear enough people, right, like, because I'm listening,
Yeah.
right, and I'm hearing their experience and what it led them to, and I'd be naive to think I'm any better.
So, to me, it's not only just a grateful addict will never use, but an aware addict will never use.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing to me. Going over these steps, staying engaged in this process. The more I do it, the more awareness I get, and the more awareness I know of, I can see me coming. You feel what I'm saying? And that's like a gift that you get. I tell people in the beginning I had the gift of desperation because all the people that were enabling me finally said, fuck this, and they let me go, which I recommend anybody dealing with a fucking active addict that's fucking your life up, you do. No matter who it is, son, father, grandmom, you gotta let them go because we need desperation.
Yeah.
Most of us need desperation. So, all right, so listen. Life's good today, man. Got a good ass job. I see you up in the air. Let me ask you this. Do you truly believe it's all possible because of this 12-step program that you're in?
Yeah, absolutely. NA has saved my life, right? And it's an ongoing thing, right? And even in the moments where, like, I feel like, because truth be told, like, there are times where I'm like, man, I wish I could have this life that's coming from recovery without the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Without the work.
But it feels like every time I fall back a little bit, shit just gets out of control. Even though when I'm not using.
And it has nothing to do with a drug.
It has nothing to do with the drug.
There's a whole bunch of other symptoms.
I'm an addict. It just manifests into different things, right?
Yeah. You know how that's how I start out each show. All the ways it manifests itself.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of them, bro. As a matter of fact, I tell people, I haven't used a drug in over 6.5 years.
That's awesome.
So dig this. It has nothing to do with a drug today. Nothing. Like, to me, the drugs, and you'll even hear people say drugs are a symptom or just the most obvious symptom. My thing is, no, they're only obvious when that's the current symptom that that's affecting you. To me, the most obvious symptom is the one that you're in the present. Whatever that might be. Whack relationship, food, gambling, sex, shopping, shoes, hats. This guy got like a fucking 1,000 hats, bro. I think I could pay my rent every month with the fucking hats. All right, so anyway, look, we gotta wrap this up.
Yeah.
All right, so listen, I just want to tell you I appreciate you, man, and that you came out here to do this with me, man. Listen, I want to end this just like, real quick, let me just say this. You know, I appreciate all the love the channel's getting, man. You know what I mean? We went crazy on the subscribers over the past month. You know, it took me like 4 months to get 400, and over the last month, I got almost another 4, which is crazy. But anyway, I'm gonna end this the way I end it every time. Just remember this. The disease of addiction, it's broad, and it's outside of the realm of just using drugs. Keep coming back, more will be revealed. We're out of here, man.